Welcome back everyone to my channel, and as always, I'm here with another gaming info, but today we will discuss about new upcoming gaming console, Stream Deck 2, including all its specs, features, price and release date. Okay, let's start. As Valve releases more information about the Steam Deck 2, we've got some ideas on what we might like to see from their upcoming handheld. The current Steam Deck is a mega hit and is consistently on the top sellers list on Steam. Availability of the device seems to be lightening up, with Valve speeding up the number of shipments, meaning that more gamers than ever are finally getting their hands on Valve's disruptive handheld tech, which is essentially a mini PC. Valve has confirmed that a Steam Deck 2 is in the works, with improvements to the display and battery life being two key features. In an interview with The Verge, Steam Deck designers Lawrence Yan and Pierre-Luc Griffes covered a lot of topics relating to the future of this portable system and Valve's potential future in console gaming as a whole. Simply put, the company has big plans. Valve has called the Steam Deck a multi-generational product, suggesting that it will evolve in some way. For one, in an interview with The Verge, Steam Deck designers Lawrence Yang and Pierre-Luc Griffes said they hope to release a new Steam controller. "Yeah, we want to make it happen," Yang told The Verge, referring to a upgraded version of the 2019 Valve discontinued pad. "It's just a question of how and when." In that same interview, Yang and Griffes also addressed some questions about a Deck 2.02. Yang and Griffes both said that when it comes to a second-gen Steam Deck, they hope to improve the screen and battery life. Valve is also deliberating on whether to keep the handheld's performance consistent for the time being, Yang and Griffes told The Verge. "Right now, the fact that all the Steam Decks can play the same games, and that we have one target for users to understand what kind of performance level to expect when you're playing, and for developers to understand what to target, there's a lot of value in having that one spec," Griffes said. "I think we'll opt to keep the one performance level for a little bit longer and only look at changing the performance level when there is a significant gain to be had. First off, we know for a fact that Valve is at least working on a Steam Deck 2. Company co-founder Gabe Newell confirmed as much in an interview with Edge magazine, saying a new deck would focus on the capabilities that mobile gives us, above and beyond what you would get in a traditional desk or laptop gaming environment. But when, exactly? Unlike the smartphone world, which is tied to an annual release cycle, the PC hardware market tends to move at a slower pace. Valve won't likely want to launch a Steam Deck successor until there's a new generation of APU, the combined processor and graphics chip, doing all the heavy lifting when it comes to games, available. The current Steam Deck uses custom AMD silicon, based on the firm's RDNA 2 architecture, which was first announced in 2020 and started appearing in consumer gadgets a year later. The PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles were among the first in line, with more battery-friendly versions following later. RDNA 2's successor, the imaginatively named RDNA 3, made its debut in November 2022. Inside AMD's latest high-end PC graphics cards. Beyond a general power hike, improvements include a 50% increase in performance per watt over the previous generation and adaptive power management, making it the obvious choice for any Steam Deck sequel. That helps narrow down the likely timeframe for Steam Deck 2's arrival. We could be looking at late 2023 at the earliest, as AMD takes time to perfect its manufacturing process and downscale the architecture to suit battery-powered gadgets like laptops and handheld PCs. Given how young the inaugural Steam Deck is, we shouldn't expect the Steam Deck 2 release date to come around anytime soon. However, this doesn't mean that we couldn't see refined versions of the existing deck in the near future, similar to how Nintendo refreshed its Switch lineup with the OLED model. Since Valve is only just beginning to speak about the Steam Deck 2, we speculate that a release date might be a little far off right now, especially since that Valve is still trying to get current reservations to users who have made a deposit for the original Steam Deck, though shipments are increasing. We speculate that the Steam Deck 2 will come only after there is a breakthrough in mobile graphics and power, where Valve can then gain a significant advantage over competitor handheld devices. Until then, we have little indication on when an updated model might release, with the main factor being the availability of a new SoC to replace their current Zen 2 solution over on the Steam Deck currently. In the past, Valve has made its long-term Steam Deck plans clear. This is a system that will be updated on a generational basis, and work has already begun on a second iteration. When it comes to console production, that's a totally normal timeframe, as you've always got to look ahead. When asked what pain points Valve aimed to address with the Steam Deck 2, the response was unanimous: a better screen and longer battery life. To speculate, one strong step forward is a move to OLED, which we think is very likely for the next-gen deck. Right now, the fact that all the Steam Decks can play the same games and that we have one target for users to understand what kind of performance level to expect when you're playing, and for developers to understand what to target. There's a lot of value in having that one spec, says Griface. Simply put, much like the archaic hardware in the Switch, consistency matters, so game developers know what specs to work around, rather than try to hit a PC hardware update schedule. There's no denying that the current Steam Deck is cheap for the power that you are getting, with $400 as MSRP that was allegedly difficult to attain, stated in an interview with IGN by Gabe Newell. However, Newell also mentioned how critical it was for Valve to achieve such competitive pricing. For comparison's sake, an Neo 2021 costs over $1,000 and isn't quite as fast as the Steam Deck. Therefore, we can assume that Valve is subsidizing some of the costs involved, with the hopes of making the money back over on the Steam platform. We hope that the Steam Deck 2 will follow suit with a subsidized, accessible cost that is more in line with modern games consoles, rather than gaming PCs. Gabe Newell previously described hitting the $400 of Steam Deck's base model as painful, so it's possible that Steam Deck 2 could cost more, especially given that the price of materials needed to make PC components continues to rise. However, Valve may be able to offset the lower profit margins of entry-level Steam Deck 2 models by producing more high-spec variants. Speaking with Edge magazine, Newell shared that the deck's most popular SKU is the most expensive one. He says that the company is reading this concentrated demand as customers saying, "We would like an even more expensive version of this in terms of horsepower capabilities or whatever." So, we could see a premium version of Steam Deck 2, surpassing the existing $650. The original Steam controller became a bit of a cult classic before it was canned in 2019, and in an interview, it became clear that Valve hasn't given up its controller ambitions. Yang confirmed that the company really wants to make a second-generation controller. Right now, we're focusing on the deck. So it's a little bit of the same thing as the microconsole question. It's definitely something where we'd be excited to work with a third party or explore ourselves, he says. We love our Steam Deck, but there are some small annoyances in the hardware and software, which Valve is aware of and hard at work fixing. Currently, it's stuck down with a lot of glue. So Valve is working on changing the geometry of the adhesive, which will make it easier to loosen. Some Steam Decks shipped with a Delta fan, which has a notable whining sound when compared to the alternative manufacturer like Huawei. The situation was concerning enough that Valve chose to stop shipping Delta fan-packed units for a while, so it is surprising to see it back. However, the team is confident that it fixed the issue through a foam solution that reduces the noise and a software update that changes the fan curve. Currently, volume control is pretty basic. You just alter the sound level across everything. However, a comprehensive mixer is on the way to adjust the volume of individual elements of what is playing. If you have wired earbuds, this isn't a problem, but we would love nothing more than to use our wireless earbuds with our Steam Deck, which is an impossibility because of the significant audio lag. Valve will let you choose a Bluetooth profile and codec to select a lower latency option, rather than the high-quality one that is on by default right now. The biggest issue hurting game compatibility right now is anti-cheat software. Valve has worked hard with the biggest software providers in this category, and while that has made some progress, a lot of the biggest titles are still unavailable. That may change in the future, however, as the team expects Epic's own easy anti-cheat software to work on Steam Deck eventually, which opens the door to the likes of Fall Guys and more. Until we get closer to its launch date, there won't be any official or leaked Steam Deck 2 performance benchmarks to pore over. As such, we hope at the very least to see Valve make improvements to battery life and gaming performance compared to the current deck. Either way, playing video games on a Steam Deck 2 should require less guesswork, as more Steam games compatibility levels should be documented. While the Steam Deck wasn't exactly earth-shattering in comparison to full-fat PC hardware, the Steam Deck 2 will follow suit. So, don't expect 40 series-like speeds. However, you should expect a decent uplift in line with whatever spec bumps that the console might pose. However, if the Steam Deck 2 has a higher resolution screen, that will impact the device's performance. Official benchmarks are inevitably going to be a long way off, but regardless, we've given it our best shot to predict what the Steam Deck 2 might offer. There's no official word or any substantial leaks surrounding Steam Deck 2 specs, but Valve has made some comments about what it would like to improve with future iterations of its handheld gaming PC. In a recent interview, Valve says it wants Steam Deck 2 to feature better battery life and screen. Battery life could be much improved over the current deck by increasing the battery capacity above 40 watt-hours, which would help to address one of the core complaints about it. Meanwhile, an OLED or QD OLED display would offer much greater color accuracy over the current IPS LCD panel, while also allowing Valve to significantly reduce the borders surrounding the screen. The Steam Deck currently wields a combination SoC made by AMD, based on their Zen 2 processors, with RDNA2 graphics. An updated Steam Deck could see a Zen 3 or even Zen 4 processor, baked in with RDNA3 graphics. We have yet to see anything from RDNA3, but it's likely that Valve would be sticking with AMD's mobile processors. Additionally, we would like to see a larger battery, a better screen, and analog sticks to boot. But we'd still want to see a healthy spec bump across the board. With flash storage getting cheaper, the Steam Deck 2 should also look to equip itself with larger internal storage. It's possible that the screen tech could also improve, and we'd love for there to be a screen with support for variable refresh rates. There are other interesting revelations from the interview too, such as Valve hoping the Steam Deck inspires third-party hardware companies to make home-based Steambox consoles. But all of this is showing a company that is looking far beyond its PC aspirations. If Valve plays its cards right, it could very well start to compete with Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, with big moves in the console space. Not only that, but the PC gaming side of its business directly feeds into a huge gaming library, where it's possible to play Forza Horizon 5 and Marvel's Spider-Man all on the same system. Whether the company is able to pull it off is going to be down to a lot of factors: continuous software development and improvement, what hardware Valve chooses to build launch, and how much buy-in from developers it can continue to keep a hold of. But based on the current track record, we are very confident